Greetings to all of you from the land of the sun. My name is Joachim Mumba, and I'm the Vice President for the International Federation of Social Workers Africa region. Happy Social Workers Month. And indeed, this year's theme for World Social Work Day is Ubuntu. And indeed, Ubuntu is the philosophy that is coming from Africa, and it depicts the African way of life. It is the concept that originates from South Africa amongst the Zulu people. And it is the concept which basically talks about the essence of humanity, and that as human beings we depend on each other, we are interconnected, and that as human beings we learn from each other, and we are because of other people, or whatever we become is as a result of our interaction and the help that we've gotten from other people within our community or within our society. The concept of Ubuntu looks at, taking care of other people in the community, looking after each other as human beings, as well as providing support and help to the needy within the community. It is the philosophy which encourages us as Africans to ensure that we actually try by all means to help those within our community or within our vicinity who are lacking either food, who are lacking different services or basic needs of life. So in a village setup, for instance, if we have a vulnerable person, the community members usually mobilize themselves and to provide for that particular person. Another example is when there is a funeral in the village, you would find members of that particular village, they mobilize the resources that they have, they mobilize the food and other things that are needed to support the bereaved family. And that is indeed the spirit of Ubuntu. When we're looking at a situation, for instance, when somebody dies and leaves children orphaned, the extended family setup normally comes in to provide support or take care or take in those children whose parent or parents have passed on. And there was no need actually in our communities in olden times for child care facilities or orphanages, because the community or the extended family setup was quite strong and it would come in to really provide help. And Ubuntu is also, the philosophy that motivates the way, of delivering, justice. And the focus and emphasis was on forgiveness, because there is a belief that when you forgive, then you're providing healing to yourself, you are providing healing even to the community. So, Ubuntu, it's really a natural way of expressing the essence of life, the essence of humanity, the essence of being human. And we believe that this also can be said that it is been something that has been helping Africans in the village setup and in our communities to use indigenous ways of solving their own problems. And you would see also a situation where, for instance, a child is beaten up by somebody else, and maybe an elderly person is passing along the road and find that child being beaten. That elderly person would come in handy to intervene and provide protection to that child, because under Ubuntu there is a belief that the child does not belong to an individual. The child does not belong to a small family or nuclear family, but the child belongs to the community. So there is that responsibility for all community members to provide protection to the child. And for me, I think there's a lot, even when we are looking at child protection system, we are looking at the social protection. How then can Ubuntu contribute through tapping into the way of life of Africa, so that the child protection system or the social protection system can reflect the indigenous way of doing things. I should tell you that in Africa we never knew issues to do with uncles or aunties, because the young brother to my father is my father. The elder brother to my father is my father. The young sister to my mother is my mother. The elder sister to my mother is my mother. Any elderly woman in the village is the mother figure to me, is the mother figure to that child over there. So the concept of auntie or uncle is quite alien. Let me give you this story, very interesting, because as I said, we never knew anything to do with the uncle, and there was nothing in our vocabulary about an auntie. So there was this time when this man was working for this particular organization, and he lost his father, and in order for him to get permission from work so as to attend the burial for his father, he went to his boss and said, "I've lost my father, we have a bereavement, and I need to attend his burial." And the boss was like, "Oh, okay, no problems, you can go." And that was the young brother to his father who had passed on. Then, I think a month later, his biological father died. He went back to his boss and said, "My father has died, and I want to ask for permission so that I can stay away from work for about 3 days to allow me to bury my father." So his boss was perplexed, was surprised, and asked the question, "How many fathers do you have?" What I'm trying to say here is that we can have as many fathers as possible, but of course with one biological father. But anyone who is older carries the father figure. Anyone who is the brother or the cousin to your father is your father. And hence, in Africa, or in our context, and under the spirit of Ubuntu, any elderly person, a male or could be female, either carries the father figure or the mother figure. And in terms of social work practice, I believe that as a profession we can learn a lot from the philosophy of Ubuntu. We learn a lot in terms of how do we then borrow the indigenous way of taking care of the children in the community, the indigenous way of providing support to those that need support in the community, and how then do we translate those into our profession. And I believe as social workers, our role is to strengthen what is already existing in the communities, the way of life for community members, the way that community members are helping each other, the way that community members are taking care of each other. We just need to come in and strengthen those ways so as to get optimal results in terms of helping those whom we serve as social workers. Across Africa, they may not necessarily use the same term Ubuntu, but each country, each language may have their own terminology, but it comes to the same thing, that we are actually motivated by the spirit of Ubuntu, the spirit that promotes the essence of humanity or the essence of being human. Thank you so very much.